Hi, Howard. How are you?
I'm good, Mark. Thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. This is Mark Koda from Restaurant Marketing Secrets Group, and today we're having a conversation with Howard Tinker, and we would like to discuss his new published book, Selling at the Table. Howard, tell us a little bit about yourself to get started with.
Okay, so yeah, that's my second book. My first book was called More Bums on Seats. And we run a marketing company for restaurateurs. We've been doing it for about 12 years. And over those 12 years, we've worked with thousands, literally thousands of restaurateurs. We put on seminars and people come along. We've done that for years. And then from there, people decide if they want to work with us. Typically, we work with about 70 restaurants a year. And we do their marketing for them, mainly direct marketing. So we do their email campaigns, birthday club, birthday cards, that kind of thing. We do a tiny bit of social media, not as much as you do, though. I mean, you're the expert at that, and websites and things like that. But mainly, it's direct marketing. We currently have a database of about 600,000 diners, which we manage for restaurants, and talking to restaurant owners over the years, whenever I sit down with somebody who's about to engage us, I say to them, well, what is it that you want? And they always used to say, we need more bums on seats. And so my first book, More Bums on Seats, was about that. And then the second thing is always about staff. How can I find good staff? How can I get my staff to sell at the table? And so selling at the table was really, it came out of that conversation. Very similar to the first book, but this one was obviously about getting staff to increase the amount that people spend at the table.
Okay, so is this what made you write the book?
Yeah, that was it. It was, I could see that if we look at the totality of the restaurants, there are about 5%, maybe 10% that are doing incredibly well. And then the rest of them are either struggling or they are just surviving, but they're not doing really well. And we work with everybody at every stage. So I've got people that you would see on TV, celebrity chefs. We work with them. We work with hatted restaurants, but we work with people that are struggling too, including franchisees. So this myth about buy a franchise and you'll be okay, well, it's not the truth. You know, for some of them, they struggle as well. And what we could see was that some people did want to do marketing. They did want to invest in doing a marketing campaign and getting things going. But some people really didn't want that responsibility, but they still needed to make more money. And we work with what we call the 4 areas that you can grow your business. Number 1 is bringing more new business, which is what you do. You're great at that. We do repeat business. So we get people to come in because we go out with email campaigns and birthday cards. And then you've got 2 other areas that are not really to do with outbound marketing. They're to do with the marketing that goes on inside the restaurant. And one is increasing dollar spend, and then the other is increasing your prices. And with increasing dollar spend, you're basically looking at what services you can add on. Can you add on a cooking school? Can you add on retail? Can you add on t-shirts? And also the thorny issue of, can your staff upsell, cross-sell, you know, that kind of thing.
And this is major in every restaurant. You know, some of them, they don't even try to do cross-selling or upselling.
No. And I think one of the problems is that, well, there's a few problems. Number 1, the restaurant owner themselves doesn't know what to say. They don't know how to upsell and cross-sell. Number 2 is that even if they knew, they don't have the skill or the time to train their staff. And then number 3 is that they worry, they have fear that if I start being pushy around sales, then people will reject my restaurant. They'll stop coming because they'll feel intimidated by this sales process that's going on. And so even though it is a great way of making more money, there's a lot of fear and a lack of skill in being able to train staff to do it perfectly. And there is a perfect way to do it, which I'll talk about. But I think that's what stops people doing it.
Okay. You talk a lot about Mandy and Dan from Cottage Point in the book. Why did you choose them and their restaurant to focus on?
Well, they had been a client of ours for about 7 years. And when I first met them, I went down to their restaurant. And Cottage Point Inn is right on the peninsula in an inlet from the ocean. And in order to get to their restaurant, you have to fly on a seaplane, or you have to drive, a yacht, pilot a yacht there, or you drive through a national park, and it takes about 20 minutes through a national park on an unmade road, unlit. So there's no easy way to get there. There's no suburb to get there. And these guys were really struggling. So we're going back 7 years. They were really, really struggling, and they got me to come down and see them and see if I could help them with marketing. And we did. We actually got them to grow a database. They've now got over 50,000 on their database, and the marketing goes really well. But the thing that I noticed, and I went along to their restaurant, was that they were able to get me, to spend double what I expected to spend. But they did it in such a way that you were glad to spend it. And at the end of the meal, even though the bill was higher, you felt like you'd been treated like a king or a queen. You felt really, really special. You had this amazing time. And instead of going away grumbling, you went away going, oh my God, that was amazing. We'll have to go there again. Who should we take? It was that kind of experience. And so when it came to thinking about how do I explain, how do I draw out a program that somebody could follow to sell better in their restaurant, they were the natural choice because they were so good at it. And
excellent.
So I contacted them and said, would you be interested? They were. We worked for about 6 months on pulling out of them what it was that they did, because they can do it. They can do it naturally. It's like a great soccer player can bend a ball. And then you say, well, how do you do that? And they go, well, I just kick it. And and you can't do it just because they told you. So I had to draw out of them their intelligence, if you like, in such a way that other people could do it. So we took about 6 months and we created a video program for it. But at the same time, I was thinking to myself, wow, this would make a really good book. So I chose them because of those reasons, and that's how the book actually came about. I wasn't intending to write a book, but it came out of working with them.
Excellent. Have you had any feedback from restaurateurs that have used selling at the table?
Yeah. We've got a coaching group, a mastermind coaching group, and basically they. I'd never say this to them. They're like my laboratory. I test out ideas with them. And when we were putting this together, it wasn't even finished. I got Mandy and Dan to come and talk to them, and we did a webinar. And they all took away the first 3 steps that we'd written, because that's as much as we'd written at that point. And then they put it into practice, and every single one of them increased their sales. And one guy, he's called Carl. He's got 5 venues. And they're bars that sell tapas and things like that. He put it into practice in 2 of his places, and they increased revenue by 20% in 2 weeks. And I actually spoke to him on Monday this week, and I said to him, so how's it going? And he said, we've increased sales on Saturday nights by $2,000. And he said, we were already full, and we honestly believed we couldn't make any more money. But they were able to increase sales by $2,000 on every Saturday night. So that's $104,000. And it's just, they still don't know more than the first 3 steps, and there's 7 steps. So they're doing really well. Right down to people who are just testing it out. One of my clients is not that gung-ho, so he's testing it out really carefully, and he just went up to some of his best customers, delivered a few lines, and those guys bought immediately. And he came and told me, he said, I can't believe it. How much money have I been leaving on the table with these guys who are regulars? They go in each lunchtime. So it works. It really works. And it honestly, Mark, it's like getting the courage up to ask a girl to dance. The hardest part is getting the courage up and worry about the rejection. But once they do it, they see how easy it is, and they're doing really well. So yeah, we've had some great feedback.
Look, from my personal experience, I believe selling at the table is not really selling. It's a lot more about serving at the table,
yeah,
and making that customer experience a better experience.
Yeah,
and it's not really about, am I going to intimidate my customer? Am I going to be rejected? All these negative thoughts, it really is. It doesn't mean anything. It's not. It's when we do put selling at the table in a proper context and following a system, you're not only making better sales on that particular night or particular week, you're making your customers having a better experience with them and their friends or their guests. It changes the whole game for you. Yeah. Instead of I'm not going to approach the table. I'm going to leave them alone unless they ask for us to come in. It doesn't work that way. You got to be proactive, and you got to tell them, you got to show them that you really care about their experience, and make sure that if there is something missing, you can tell. It's your creation, it's your artwork. You can tell there is something missing there, and you got to go and tell it to them. But again, it's not about being pushy or intimidating the customer. No, not at all.
One of the things that Dan taught me when we were pulling it out of his head, what he was doing was that he had a belief system that he wanted to offer every customer the best possible experience that they could have in his restaurant. And so one of the metaphors that I tell when I'm teaching this is to say, if somebody was coming out and it was their last night on earth and they'd chosen your restaurant to dine at, and it's the last time they'll ever have a meal in a restaurant, what would you withhold from them? Would you withhold your best wines? Would you withhold your chef's special? Would you withhold the cheese plate? What would you withhold? And people go, well, nothing. That's right. So why are you withholding right now from the boy and the girl on their first date, the family where they're celebrating, somebody's birthday, the family that are celebrating somebody's graduation from university, the lovers that are coming out for their Friday or Saturday night escape? Why are you withholding from them? And people go, oh yeah, that's right, we are. Yes. We're withholding instead of demonstrating our best. And it's a mindset shift. It's not that people are consciously going, oh, I'm not going to sell, but something happens about not being pushy, and it's a mindset shift. And actually, that brings me on to kind of explaining what we do with selling at the table. And there's three areas. There's the will, the skill, and the environment. And the will is about the mindset. It's about you having the mindset of coming from that space of, I want to give you the best possible experience. I want you to feel like you've had this amazing wow experience. You're going to walk away and you're going to tell everybody, which is what I experienced at Cottage Point Inn. And then the skill is the things that people will probably think that the book Selling at the Table is about. Like, what do I say? What do I do? Those are the skills. And then the environment is, how do you as an owner or a manager create an environment where staff are encouraged, they're capable, they're managed, they're rewarded, they have all the tools that they need, that when they come in, they know what the specials are, they get to taste them. So how do you create an environment that is a great environment for staff to feel confident and rewarded in doing that?
Sorry to interrupt you there. I reckon that will answer the question where, don't I run the risk of annoying my customers if I go with selling at the table? And I believe this is what you were just saying would answer this.
Yeah. Yeah, and once the penny drops, once people hear the whole story of selling at the table, they're totally convinced, because that's what they came into the industry to do. They came into the industry to deliver a wow experience, and it's only once they've been in the industry a long time they get nervous of overselling or the price thing, and if I'm higher priced than the guy down the road, I'm going to go out of business, all of that. And they forget, number one, why they came into the business, and number two, what we as customers, as guests, are really looking for. And we're looking for an experience, not the cheapest thing on the menu, or else we'd be dining at McDonald's every night.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what it's all about. The will, which is the mindset. We talk a lot about the mindset of the owner, the mindset of the staff, and the mindset of the customer, which is really important. The skill, which are all the different things that people can do at the table, and the process. It's like adding another layer to the order of service. So instead of just turning up with the menu and the knives and forks and the glasses, there's another layer to that about when you do turn up with the knives and forks, what do you say? Or when they do arrive at the door, how do you greet them? How do you move them to the table? So there's like a layer there. So that's the skill level. And then the environment, as I say, is like how you run your team meetings, how you get your chef involved to teach people, how you get your suppliers involved, what materials you need on hand to get people to to buy more and to experience more. So those are the three things.
Yes, it really never is about selling. It's more about serving.
Yeah.
You get into the restaurant business because you love food, you love serving people, amazing experience. And I believe anyone that works in the hospitality industry, that they share those values.
Absolutely.
And I do understand they hate selling. Because we're not here to sell, we're here to serve people, we're here to make sure that they're happy, this and that. But at the same time, they withhold their best experience because they think, oh, we're trying to sell here, instead of changing their mindset and look into this from a different point of view. No, you're not selling. You're servicing your customer in a better way.
Yeah.
And this is where Selling at the Table book was born, for them. So speaking of Selling at the Table book, what are the top 3 tips you can give our members to help them to increase the amount that their guests spend at the table?
Okay, so it comes back to those 3 things of having a mindset around it, and then the skill and the environment. So just to give you an example of one of the things that's in the book, there's a point where the drinks have been delivered to the table. The menu is put down on the table for the guests to look at what they want to order. And at that moment, the wait person says, "I'll be back in a few moments to tell you about our specials," and then walks away. Now, what happened there, that seems very sublime, every day, there's nothing much happening. But what happens is it stops people ordering from the menu. Because you open the menu and look at it, but half your mind's thinking, I wonder what the specials are. If you don't do that, they will choose from the menu, and that puts them in charge of what's ordered. And they might order the cheapest, and that's not what you want. You want them ordering the dish that's going to give you maximum margin, and also to give them the best experience. And that's probably going to be on your specials. That dish is probably going to be on your specials. So you come back to the table having not said that, and they order the dishes they want. You come back to the table having said that, and they look up at the wait person, and then the wait person delivers that information in a way that we teach, and the people at the table will buy the dish that they've been guided upon. So what you've got there is you've got mindset of the member, well, of the owner, to allow that to happen. You've got environment, so that they've trained their staff in doing that. You've got the mindset of the server, which is to come back and offer the best possible dishes that night. And you've got the mindset of the people dining, which we know we've done an interrupt on them to stop them from doing what they would normally do. So we've done a pattern interrupt. So that's the mindset side. The skill set is how to say the thing, when to say the thing, and when to walk away. And then the environment, again, is all of the training that's gone into that, and the fact that the chef and the team have put these specials together that have high margin. So that's just a tiny example. It's only one sentence, which is, "I'll be right back to tell you about the specials." But beneath the surface of that there's a lot going on. And the whole book's full of that. And the course itself is full of all of those things that you and your staff can use in order that you get to sell the things you want to sell and delight people and make great money at the same time.
Excellent. Well, is there anything else you would like to add? I believe we just came to the end of our call today, Howard.
Well, Mark, if people are interested, they can order the book online from Amazon. So if you just go to Amazon and type in Selling at the Table, you'll see the book there. It's there as a Kindle. I believe in America they've got it where you can get it printed online. We're having it printed here in Australia right now. So it's at the printing company and it should be back within 2 weeks to me. So if somebody wants to order it from us, I can supply it. It's $30. Or if you just want to get in contact with us, our website is restaurantprofits.com.au. Or if you want to look at Selling at the Table, the website for that is sellingatthetable.com. Not .com.au, just .com.
Just .com. And I'm sure they can, if they want it now, they can just go to Amazon.com and get the Kindle version.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and I would recommend to anyone that watching this call and listening to it to go and get the book. I got the book as soon as I heard how it published the book, and I got it in digital format on Kindle, and I will get it when it's printed.
I'll send you a copy. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much for the call today and your time, Howard. I'm sure the audience got a lot of value. Selling at the Table absolutely works when done right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye for now.
No worries. Bye.